BC. Some people have been forced out as well. Terrifying situation overnight because of a wildfire burning up on the side of one of the mountains. Let's listen in here to get the latest on the situation.
West Kelowna, Kelowna, and just recently the District of Lake Country. Last night was extremely difficult in communities throughout the regional district of Central Okanagan. I'd like to take a moment to pause and express gratitude for all the hardworking emergency operations staff and frontline responders that have been working diligently to battle these ongoing fires, many of whom are under evacuation alert or orders themselves. Despite heroic efforts, significant structure loss has occurred throughout the evening of August 17th. Over the coming days, as it is safe to do so, we'll conduct an assessment to confirm the number of structures lost. We know we have lost structures in the Traders Cove area in the RDCO and the Bear Lake Road in the city of West Kelowna. At this time, we have no confirmed loss of life. On behalf of the entire response team, we'd like to extend our sympathy to all of those who have been forever impacted by the events of last night. I want to assure you that every effort was made to mitigate the impact of the fire. However, at the end of the day, the force of Mother Nature has proved to be too much. And I'd also like to extend my heartfelt gratitude for all those frontline workers that continue out there today. Unfortunately, we're not out of the woods yet. Last night could very well be a preview of what's to come over the coming days. I'm now going to hand it over to BC Wildfire Services and our local fire chiefs to talk about the efforts and the conditions faced last night and what we can expect over the next 24 hours.
Chair Wildridge, and we'll have Nicole Bonnet from BC Wildfire. Hello, everybody. As it's been mentioned, my name is Nicole Bonnet. I am a fire information officer with the incident management team for the BC Wildfire Service. I'll start today by just echoing the board chair's comments about our condolences for the losses that we have had so far, unconfirmed numbers at this point in time. We are going to do our best to verify all information and get it out to everybody as soon as we can. But with that in mind, I think we'll just talk about how dynamic the situation has been. In the last 24 to 36 hours, BC Wildfire Service has really been trying to get the message out about the provincial level impact cold front that swept across the province. It's about halfway through the province at this point in time, and we're still seeing those effects today. Overnight recoveries for fire activity on the McDougall Creek fire were poor, and fire activity stayed aggressive throughout the night. Some of that Chief Brolin will be able to speak to shortly. And with that, we're expecting to see those same conditions today. Winds will be up, fire activity will be quite aggressive. And so we're just asking those in the area, if you're asked to leave, please take that warning and leave. We want everybody to remain safe. And with that in mind, we're also asking people to stay off the water, steer clear of where aircraft are working. They need to be able to focus on responding to the wildfire, not trying to dodge people on the lake. The wildfire was reported on August 15th, and since then we have had personnel on the fire every day. But again, just due to provincial conditions and how hot and dry everything has been, from about 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, which is typically the peak burning time of the day where you see the most fire activity, crews have had to pull back to safe places and safe locations. So that kind of just shows you, even leading up to this cold front, what conditions on site have been like and how the weather has been impacting this fire in particular, as well as others throughout the Kamloops Fire Centre region. We do have a really strong unified response effort right now occurring with the City of West Kelowna, Central Okanagan Regional District, and a number of other communities and response agencies that are on the call here today to provide their updates as well. It's a really great coordinated effort, and we've got a lot of really good experienced personnel that are out there doing everything that they can for the communities and the residents in the areas. With that in mind, there was upwards of 80 personnel working last night between Structure Protection, BC Wildfire, and RCMP. A lot of it was fire following tactics last night, following the fire activity and trying to extinguish the fire's edge and protect property and critical infrastructure. Jason, again, will be able to speak to that in a little bit more detail. This morning, we've been conducting a reassessment just to take a look at where the fire was most active last night to help us prioritize for structure protection and structure defense today. So that work will be ongoing, setting up more structure protection equipment and also extinguishing active fire in and around properties as we prioritize areas to set up more gear throughout the day. We will be having a provincial media availability at 1300, which is 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So there'll be more details made available. And again, as we get more information, just given how dynamic the situation is, we'll be updating as we can as the information is verified so that we're giving people timely but also accurate information. We know how important that is given the ongoing situation. I think that probably covers what I've got to add here for today. I will just say we have an incident management team that is transitioning into the area. We've got a partial one in place as of this morning at about 700. So we'll be looking to put in the rest of the team by the end of day today. And then we'll be bringing in additional resources as we need, as we get a better sense of how things are going to continue unfolding. There'll be aircraft coming into the area. We've got 4 helicopters right now, an additional 3 en route. And then the fixed wing air tanker resources are available as long as there is safe and achievable objectives for them to work on the fire. So we'll be looking at positioning additional resources as we need and as the situation unfolds.
Thank you very much, Nicole. And if I could ask Chief Jason Brolin to come up.
It was a devastating night last night, probably one of the toughest of my career. The toughest of all of our firefighters' careers, likely. Is one of the most challenging nights of firefighting in our history. We fought hard last night to protect our community. Somebody described it to me last night in the heat of the battle as it was like 100 years of firefighting all at once in one night. And I really think that it was true. We fought 100 years worth of fires, all in one night. We had people trapped. That's the fire chief's worst nightmare. Those emergency responders were trapped because they were rescuing members of the public who had chosen not to leave. Last night, I joined my men and women on the ground at about 2 a.m. And we undertook one of the biggest firefights I've ever been a part of in the West Kelowna Estates neighborhood. Night turned to day because of the orange glow of the clouds and the fire that was happening. And the firefighters who fought that fire held that ground. They saved homes, too numerous to list in West Kelowna Estates. And I'm incredibly proud of the work that was done. However, there was a significant number of structures that were lost last night, and we're going to do our best to improve that and take it from significant to a number that means more to people, because I know that people are desperate to know. We're also going to do our best to get people back to their homes, but that's not going to happen quickly, either of those things. The reality of it is that driving here for the media conference, the firefight going on right now is as significant today as it was last night. So we need to put our focus there. We need to stop this fire before it continues any further. Then we'll get on to the counting, and then we'll get on to getting people back to their homes when it's safe. It's horrible, the loss, and our hearts go out to the people who are going to get this news eventually. But it's also not about what was lost for us, it's about what was saved. The firefighters battled hard to protect critical infrastructure in the Rose Valley neighborhood. That includes the fire hall, the school, the chlorinator, the dam, and most significantly, the brand new Rose Valley water treatment plant, a $75 million asset that is about to be turned on in our community. I'm happy to report as of this morning that all of those structures are still standing. They're not damaged whatsoever. We have had incredible support over the last 36 hours with this fire. As Nicole mentioned, the team from BC Wildfire Service is here in a big way, and one only needs to look up in the air to see that. But there's also literally will soon be hundreds of boots on the ground there. The team from the RCMP last night, police officers just kept coming, and I don't know where they all came from, but they knocked on every single door that I asked them to, and it was thousands of doors that were knocked on. That's incredible. Also mentioning the out-of-town fire crews. I walked through the scene last night when I went out to fight, and I saw everything from Kamloops to Comox to Lake Cowichan to, you name it. These people were here, Enderby, all Kelowna, all working alongside each other, even though they just met each other. They're digging in and saving houses, and it was very powerful. There'll be likely 90 structural personnel on the fire today, and there'll be even more tomorrow. Our team has submitted a resource request to bolster that number significantly. And we're grateful for the support of places like Okanagan College and UBC Okanagan who are housing these firefighters. Somebody asked me, why does this work the way that it does? And it does because of partnerships and relationships. It works because Chief Whiting and I are friends before we're co-workers. And I know I can call on him or any one of the other fire chiefs in the region when we have a bad day like we did. We have a great system, and it started 20 years ago to the day when the Okanagan Mountain Park fire was fought. And we're still improving it and relying on it today. I couldn't think of a better team to be out there in the field with. We have the experts in the province are either here on our team, they've come to help us, or they're on their way. We knew that it was going to be bad. I think I said that yesterday to the media. But this is what we planned for, and this is what we practiced for. But it was exponentially worse than we had expected. It's not done. As I mentioned, driving here, the crews are dug in right now at 10 in the morning, the same way they were dug in at 2 in the morning last night, trying still madly to save the houses that are being threatened. We're in the thick of it right now, if we ever have been. And today's going to be a challenging day again. The winds are stronger than they were yesterday. There are homes burning out there right now, and there are homes at risk, and we're going to do our best to stop that. If you're on evacuation alert, you need to be prepared to go to evacuation order immediately. We put you on evacuation alert for a reason. This is the real deal, and it is likely that evacuation order will come at some point. You need to be ready. You need to cooperate when authorities ask you to leave. Last night was an orderly evacuation by all measures, but I desperately hope that all left when we asked them. My people are strong. We're going to be here for the long run. We're going to prepare that it will be worse, and we ask the public to do the same. Don't panic. Be ready. We may have another scary night tonight. People are going to see that glow again, and it's going to look worse than you ever expected. But know that we're there. We're watching it. Be aware for embers. Watch out for that ash. This fire has been demonstrated to spot over long distances. You see that happening, phone 911. And don't panic. We've got a great team here. We're going to get this thing. And it's because of the hard work of all of the people that are making it happen. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief Roland. And if I could ask Chief Travis Whiting from Kelowna Fire Department to come up.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. And I'm going to echo a lot of what Chief Roland had to say. A lot of similarity, obviously, on both sides of the lake of what occurred last night, and a lot of resources and knowledge being shared back and forth between us through our partnerships. First, my thoughts are today with those who suffered loss last night, and I can tell you it hits us hard as responders. It's our goal to keep everybody safe. And nights like last night are tough on the frontline responders because they care and there's a lot of compassion. So from the Kelowna side last night, we were heavily engaged working with West Kelowna on the other side of the lake, but also had a large presence in our community watching for embercast and incidents on this region. Understanding that we do have a large incident occurring, but we have very dangerous conditions throughout the central Okanagan, and we have the potential for fire start in other areas. So we do keep resources available and monitoring to ensure that we can respond to any other incidents that can occur in a timely fashion. This included having our boat out on the water to watch and monitor for us. The fire that started last night, I'll give great credit to the crews from our team that responded on there and knocked on it as quickly as possible and provided structural protection in conjunction with BC Wildfire. Operations went very, very well last night from our perspective. We also had good cooperation at the time with some of the topography and wind, but it was a good battle, and the crews did some pretty incredible works. Today, as Chief Brolin mentioned, we're in the thick of it. This is not over. We're in day 2 of a fight that's going to go on for the foreseeable future over the next few days. Our crews are dug in around the McKinley area right now, providing structural protection as this wind continues to drive these fires north on us, and as the wind starts to shift into other areas. So far in Kelowna, we have no confirmed structural loss, and we are continuing to battle to ensure that we protect every home that we can. One of the key things, there's 2 pieces I would comment on, is that operationally, Chief Lee out of Lake Country and Chief Brolin and myself and Chief Kostrowski from the regional district are pretty much joined at the hip throughout this event to ensure that we're aware of what is needed, and we are putting resources where most need is. We are not looking at this as any single jurisdiction, but as a single jurisdiction across the region where we put the best resources where they're best needed and have the biggest impact. On top of all that, supporting this, I just want to also mention that regionally, our Emergency Operations Center is in support of this as a regional operation. We are very fortunate in central Okanagan to have the gold standard of emergency operations centers with a group of 25 to 30 people working 24 hours a day right now to handle the logistics, mapping, purchasing, staffing, advanced planning, weather monitoring, getting information out to the public. There's a whole machine there that has been absolutely crucial to the success of us being able to both operationalize some of our ideas, but also to try and communicate that information out to you. We are working very, very hard to get information out, and we will continue to do so with the understanding that we want to make sure the information we produce is accurate. So at times we'll require a little patience as we try to make sure that we've got our facts confirmed before putting them out. As Chief Brolin said, we're in this for a while. I need our communities to be aware, to follow the news, to subscribe to cordemergency.ca. The latest information that we are going to be putting out to the public will be issued through cordemergency.ca. You can subscribe to that mailing list and you will get email prompts anytime we release information. As well, any evacuation alerts or orders are immediately placed upon that, and you can go into the address level to see where your home may or may not be impacted. So that is a really critical piece for us, that people take the time to follow that website, because it allows us to disseminate information out to you as quickly as possible. I did appreciate last night how orderly our evacuation was as well in the Clifton and Wilden areas. It was a very busy period of time, but as I worked through those neighborhoods, it was very orderly, and there was, I really appreciated the community support. The community support that's occurred across the region so far has been excellent and appreciated by both those impacted, but also by us as responders in Emergency Operations Center in trying to facilitate and find ways to support those impacted. Friends and family have been critical, and this community continues to come together. So that's all I have. I encourage everyone to stay aware, to stay careful, to stay vigilant. And this isn't over, but we are doing the best we can, and we will continue to do so in the coming days and weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Whiting. If I might ask Jason Bedell, he's our Emergency Support Services Supervisor, to come and give us a state of that.
Thank you, Jody. Good morning, everyone. First off, I'd like to recognise the amazing outpouring of community support that we've seen during this incident. It really goes to show the strength of our community as we all pull together. Also, I'd like to acknowledge the unwavering support of our partners during this evacuation, including the Ministry of Emergency Management and Climate Readiness, our neighbouring municipalities, and there's numerous other partners, businesses that have reached out that are just too numerous to mention at this time. They have all been instrumental in supporting our evacuees. We truly are in this together. Royal LePage Place has once again been activated this morning. Our ESS volunteers are on site to register and provide supports to evacuees. Alert, who looks after animals during these types of evacuations, will also be on site to help evacuees. Prospera Place was activated late last night, early this morning, to provide a location for evacuees to attend. It will be turned into a group lodging location. We truly are short on commercial accommodations, and this will be a location for people to go if you have nowhere else to stay. The address for that location is 1223 Water Street in Kelowna. Cal Tire Place, again, has been activated and is open for evacuees. ESS volunteers are on site there again as well to provide registration and supports for volunteers. The address for that location is 3445 43rd Avenue in Vernon. Again, I can't stress this enough, the importance of pre-registering if you are on alert and on order. The web address for that is ess.gov.bc.ca. Again, if you have friends and family that have space for you to go as an evacuee, please take them up on that offer. We really are trying to push people towards that option. The only other option we have left right now is group lodging. And finally, I just want to recognise the amazing ESS volunteers, not just here in Kelowna, but the region and the province. The supports they're providing are incredible. They truly are your neighbours, your colleagues, your friends. They are there to support the evacuees. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jason. I just wanted to mention, because there's a bunch of people online asking for names of people, and we will put that in the chat at the end of the conference so that you have the name of the people that are standing at the mic. And next we have someone who is online with us. We have Carl Hart. He's from Interior Health. Carl, Haley's just going to open your mic for you, and then you should be able to go ahead.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to start by stressing that the health and safety of impacted communities and our people at Interior Health remain our top priorities. And our thoughts are with all those impacted by wildfires right now. Our gratitude goes out to the firefighters from the agencies involved. Right now, Interior Health has more than 700 medical staff and healthcare workers who have been personally impacted by fires in the West Kelowna and Kelowna area, whether on evacuation order or alert. Staff in other parts of the region are also impacted by wildfires. Despite this, thanks to the incredible teamwork and commitment to service of our staff, all health services remain fully operational. Should anyone experience a medical emergency, please call 911 or make your way to the urgent and primary care centers in Kelowna or West Kelowna, or Kelowna General Hospital. Our staff have been working over the last 24 to 48 hours to ensure our services are well prepared to support patient care. All services, including surgeries and cancer clinic services, continue to operate as normal at this time. Interior Health has an active emergency operations center and incident commands set up throughout our health region to proactively manage and respond to this dynamic situation that is impacting so many communities in the interior. We also have a provincial health services network to draw on should that be needed. We have one Interior Health owned and managed site in West Kelowna, Brookhaven Care Center, that has been evacuated as a precaution given its close proximity to the evacuation order area. 95 residents were successfully evacuated between 6 and 11 p.m. last night to alternate care locations in the region. Those family members of those individuals have been contacted directly with information about the location of their loved ones. We'd like to acknowledge the work of the Brookhaven staff and partners like BC Emergency Health Services, BC Transit, Interfacility Transport, as well as families for supporting these moves and keeping impacted residents safe. As conditions change, we will provide updates. Please check our media center at interiorhealth.ca or our social media channels for the latest information about health services. I also want to emphasize that these situations can be very stressful time for those impacted by fires, and support services are available for those who need it. Information on that can be found on the wildfires page on interiorhealth.ca. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. And last but certainly not least, we have Inspector Beth McCandy from the RCMP.
Hello, good morning. I am Inspector Beth McCandy, the acting officer in charge of Kelowna Regional Detachment. This morning, I would like to share with you the ongoing work that will continue to happen as the circumstances unfold in the coming days to support our partners and first responders throughout the regional detachment area. We will continue to be resourced and supported by the BC RCMP. We are a nimble organization who has extensive experience deploying resources throughout the province. I'm happy to report that through the night, we were receiving resources from as far away as Vancouver Island, and they make their way to the Kelowna regional area to support with efforts in West Kelowna, Kelowna City, and now in Lake Country. We will continue to see that support as we make an effort to resource and respond appropriately to the dynamics of the unfolding events. What I can say is I'm both very proud of the response that we received locally from not only our West Kelowna Regional Detachment, but our provincial partners that work within our community. When the call came out, multiple times throughout the evening, we saw an influx of resources showing up, getting ready to respond and support whatever was going on. I can't tell you how proud I am of the men and women that showed up ready to support our efforts to respond to this incident. We have responded to calls of unauthorized persons within evacuated locations. It will remain a priority for our RCMP officers to ensure security in those areas that have been evacuated, and they will be doing this through roadblocks and roving patrols. If you see something, we need you to say something. We would like you to contact 911 if you see any suspicious activities, and we will be responding appropriately. As my partners have indicated, this is something that is going to be unfolding over the next few days, maybe even weeks. And it is important that we all continue to work together, communicate, and support one another in our efforts to respond to what is going on. At this point, the RCMP will be engaged for the rest of the day and supporting our partners. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Inspector McCandy. And we'll just have wrap-up comments from our chair, and then we'll launch into some questions.
So as we've all heard, these fires are dynamic and the situation continues to be fluid. Today is expected to be another very challenging day. This is a time where we need to come together as a community and support one another. We know that we're resilient, and together we will get through this. We want to thank everybody for cooperating when they are put on evacuation alert or an evacuation order, and it's very important that you know what that means to you. If you're on an evacuation alert, you should have everything packed that you need and be ready to leave at a moment's notice. You can pre-register with emergency support services online to be best prepared. If you're put on evacuation order, you need to leave immediately. I cannot stress this enough. You must leave immediately. Be prepared to get out of your home for an extended period of time. As you've heard from the fire chiefs, failing to do so puts our emergency personnel at risk and jeopardizes our community. All residents across the region should prepare their households now. Prepared BC has resources available to help you build your evacuation kit and make a plan. I'd also like to thank our provincial counterparts, including Minister Bowen Ma, who has been in touch with me directly from Emergency Management and Climate Readiness. Security personnel are monitoring roadblocks to keep the public out of evacuated areas so that crews can safely work. We know that people are anxious to know the status of their home while we have teams who are looking towards the future and what recovery will look like, but this is still a very active fire situation. Our immediate focus is on protecting our community as best we can. We are committed to keeping you up to date with new information as it becomes available. We'll work hard to rescind all alerts and orders as soon as it's safe to do so, but as we've noted today, that will be some time. I must stress it's important right now to stay informed and to use trusted sources of information. Please continue to visit cordemergency.ca, cordemergency.ca as the official source of information on the fire. If you haven't already, please subscribe at cordemergency.ca to receive email alerts. Please stay safe, everyone. We're in this together. Thank you, Lim Lim.
Thank you very much, Chair Wooldridge. So we'll take some questions now. Just a reminder that if we can have the people that are in the room step up to the mic, Haley will be dealing with the people online. I also just wanted to point out one more time that we have also available with us today, Mayor Milsom of West Kelowna, Deputy Mayor Singh from the City of Kelowna, and I believe Chief Louie is also with us online. And lastly, we have Wilson's Landing Fire Chief also with us. They weren't able to make it into the room today, but available to answer questions. Let's start right there, please.
Thank you. It's Kent Molgath from Kelowna Now Media. Is there any information at this table about the closure of the airport? We see no flights going in or out right now.
Chief Waiting?
So information on YLW would be best sourced through the YLW website. Last report was that there were cancellations to some of the flights. However, I'm not aware of whether there's been a full closure. Certainly, with the wildfire activity and the amount of air support we're receiving from BC Wildfire, there will be conversations between the airport and BC Wildfire. So I'd highly recommend you go to the City of Kelowna website for any updates on that, and we'll make sure that we get that information out.
Another question that comes to mind, that the fire emerged on the east side of the lake. Was that in fact? Do you want me to re-ask that with the mic on?
Yeah.
When the fire spotted on the east side of the lake, was that in fact spotting from the main McDougall Creek fire?
Yeah, good indications, obviously, that given the proximity of the fire on the west side of the lake, that spotting did occur across. We did have reports, which is why we had patrols working on that. So there's good indications that that was spotting that caused that fire, of course, but at this point, we don't have confirmation.
Questions to go to the mic, please. That we didn't capture.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, we can do that. I'm also going to ask, please, that we have one question per outlet as we go. Chief Whiting, I think you've answered that for now. Thank you very much. I'm going to go to Haley online now for one of the outlets there.
Hi, I see Wolf Deppner from Black Press Media. You had your hand up. You can unmute and ask your question.
All right. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for taking my question. Much appreciated. What if any updates can you give on the weather situation? I know weather is obviously a dynamic situation, but just looking ahead, what gives you sort of the greatest cause of concern concerning the weather situation? Thank you.
I'm going to get Nicole Bonnet to answer that one, please.
I don't have specific details on what the weather is doing on site at this point in time on the fire, but we are seeing the tail end of that cold front passage. So with that is coming some extreme winds, and given how dry conditions are on site, those winds will be a big influential factor in how quickly the fire spreads and in what direction the fire spreads. as wind changes direction and hits local topography, that'll influence how it affects the fire on the ground. So it'll really depend on what we get for wind speeds and direction this afternoon, and really throughout the day and into the evening, just given how active the fire remained overnight when we would usually see some quieter fire behavior. The relative humidities are still quite low and temperatures are remaining quite high. So that's creating some pretty conducive burning conditions overnight still. With the 1300 media availability, they may have more details about the weather, and then there'll be some more weather updates coming out later today as well.
Thank you, Nicole. Rob, did you have the next question? If you can push your mic on. Just have to see the red light. There you go.
Hi, Rob Gibson, Castanet News. Thanks for taking my call. Jason, Travis, congratulations on an excellent job last night. We heard horrifying stories of just how close some of your crews came to possibly losing their lives. Can you elaborate on that and perhaps elaborate on some of the folks you said who chose to stay behind and RCMP and I assume the wildfire crews had to go and save them. Obviously, this is not an optimal situation.
Thank you, Rob. Chief Roland, would you like to answer that?
I have such a luxury and pleasure of leading a team of people who oftentimes I can't even hold on to the reins. There is no way that I could hold my crews or any of the firefighters that came to join us back. They wanted to be in that fight last night. And certainly we will risk a lot to save a lot. And there were a number of risks taken to save lives and property last night. But there was also risks taken that didn't have to be, and that was because people chose not to evacuate in one particular case. And emergency responders, including the RCMP and BC Wildfire Service, stepped up and got those people out of the precarious situation they were in. And I'm very glad it turned out the way that it did, but it didn't have to be that way. We don't put evacuation alerts on because it makes our job easier or it's just something that we have to do procedurally. We do it because there's a very real risk that we need you to leave your homes with little to no notice. And last night was a prime example of that. As has been mentioned, we're not done yet either, so don't be complacent. I